Welcome to HomeKit Life. I'm Josh.
I'm Brayden.
This week we're going to talk about Unifi, Sensibo, SmartWings, Apple, and Apple. Apple. WWDC 2022. Apple, we're not mad at you. We're just disappointed in your HomeKit stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. All right, we'll get to that later. Let's get into Amplify. Unifi has a router out called Amplify, and we got a strange little nugget of information in their app update that says introducing Apple HomeKit for Amplify Alien Router. Not HomeKit Secure Router. It just says HomeKit.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I'm assuming they meant HomeKit Secure Router. You have to have the HomeKit version or the firmware version on there, as well as the app update in order for this to work. Yeah, I don't know. This is not super interesting to me. But we also we have like all the Unifi gear, like their higher end gear, not their, like this one's like a Wi-Fi access point and router kind of like all built into one.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like a competitor to Eero or Linksys Velop, which is, the other option for HomeKit Secure Router. But I've just like, we added an Eero to the Airbnb that we have, and like it just, I don't feel like that was a game changer when I enabled HomeKit Secure Router. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting, not interesting, maybe. If you have one, hey, good for you.
Mm-hmm. Already, Sensibo, they have released an updated AC controller that sports some air quality sensors. So Sensibo has like a whole lineup of air products, air-related products. They have a air purifier. And they just released their AirQ, which replaces the original Sensibo Air. And so this new one sports a TVOC sensor, total volatile organic compounds, and a CO2 sensor, alongside what was already there, which was a temperature and humidity sensor. So essentially what this device does is it works over IR to send signals to your AC unit, and then that will allow you to control that through HomeKit, alongside exposing all of those sensors to HomeKit. This comes in at $149 US. Yeah.
It would be kind of cool if you could like repurpose this to just be an IR emitter. I mean, I feel like there's a product out there you can get that is an IR emitter.
I think there
but
is,
it's not cheap if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of curious to look at their air purifier too. I'll have to look at that later. Speaking of temperature, SmartWings has added an outdoor roller blind that has HomeKit support. And so with the temperature stuff, it is a fabric that can block heat out. It can also block out 92% of UV rays. So you can do things like watch TV or use your phone without squinting. So kind of interesting. I dig the look of it. It looks like you can get some pretty wide blinds. So, if you have an outdoor space that's covered with a roof, you want to bring some blinds down to maybe be able to block rain or wind, or, it's got a track and can roll the blind down. It uses battery. It's got a 2200 milliamp hour rechargeable battery, lasts 4 to 6 months. And they have different options for charging. So you can get a solar panel, which I think is pretty awesome and probably what I would get.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can get a plug too. Can't tell what type of plug it is, but on the roller blind side, you can't really tell if it's a barrel jack or USB-C or what. But also comes with the remote, should you want that option. I think the bummer here is that the HomeKit version is Bluetooth only. which I think is a weird option. Because to me, like, I'm not going to have a home hub too close to any of this to be able to trigger the Bluetooth. So that's kind of interesting. They do have a Zigbee option for, like, if you want to buy the Alexa version or the Amazon version. I think you could probably get away with, like, using a Homebridge plugin and adding this to one of your other Zigbee hubs, and then it would show up that way. That might be interesting to play with and would get you probably better coverage. So that's one thought. $199 is the starting price, but I think there's a lot of configuration options on width and color and all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested, be sure to hit up that link and take a look.
Yep. Alrighty.
Speaking of, I don't know. I don't have a great segue. WWDC 2022 was so super excited for that, and I definitely felt a little let down. They were like, okay, now we're going to talk about home and car. And I was like, yes, I'm ready. And I sneezed and it was over. So that was a bit disappointing. We did get one definitely confirmed thing.
And that being the redesigned home app. So with this new home app, it breaks down all of your devices into separate categories, like climate, lights, security, speakers and TV, water. I don't know if there's more categories. That's just kind of what they have shown here. And so those kind of just sit in like little tiles at the top. The whole interface is very tile-centered.
Tile-tastic.
Very widget-esque. So they also have... they showed off like a camera view, and so that has support up to like 4 cameras sitting there normally, and then if you would swipe over, you can see like all of your other camera views.
Yeah.
It has scene control, and then they also show off an entry room, which is interesting because they kind of just removed rooms
out of the
interface.
App.
Yeah,
out of the phone app. Definitely.
So it's still there on macOS and iPadOS.
Yeah, in the sidebar.
Right.
But there's no other like dedicated bottom bar to get to rooms. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle to adjust with the home app on the phone. Not having rooms. I don't know. I guess it's just going to be like one long tile scroll screen.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It looks interesting. I do like that they're kind of like diving into this like widget like configuration. I think you'll be able to control like, which cameras are going to display in the grid view, and you can, which ones will show up on the swipe and that kind of thing, which does, it makes sense. Like they did widgets in iOS 15. Now we got the lock screen widget in iOS 16. And, weirdly enough, we're getting, a home app widget for the lock screen. I don't think we have one for the widget, like the normal like widget screen.
I don't know.
Yeah. But we definitely have one for the lock screen. It looks like you get at least the summary one, which will show you kind of like that category breakdown and which devices are on and off. It's just grouping it like, 5 lights on. And shows you like the climate range, and I'll be curious if you'll be able to like check and uncheck certain things to show up there. And if it's like dependent on your location and what it's showing you, like if you're out of the house, will it show you the security at the top? When you're in your house, maybe security doesn't show up as much. I don't know. And then there's almost like a watch-like interface. So there's an option for like the temperature for the climate, showing you like what you're set at the top and the bottom and what the current temperature is in between there. And that one looks kind of interesting as well. So I definitely felt like the lock screen stuff was like watchification of the phone lock screen.
Definitely.
Which I do like. I love the watch interface and the configurability there. So love seeing that come to the phone.
Yes.
Speaking of phone updates.
So this one kind of came out as like part of the wallet bit that they were doing. And so there are new home key manufacturers, being Level and Yale, alongside like just a bunch of people that are supporting Apple Wallet through keys. Bunch of universities,
Bunch of car manufacturers,
mm-hmm.
VMware.
Yeah.
Thought that was an odd one because you need to control the keys to your virtual machine. Like, is this SSH keys? I don't know.
Passkeys.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The other kind of big piece that we got news-wise, this felt like a non-announcement. We kind of know it's coming, right? Matter support. Apple got a little flexy. They're like, Matter is just HomeKit, so everyone's using HomeKit now. I was like, okay, if you say so. So this is coming this fall. I think if you're hiding under a rock, maybe you haven't heard about it. If not, you probably did hear about it, and we've talked about it in the past. And they've recently like added more categories, like a month or two ago, I think. But I don't think we're getting anything revolutionary here. It'll be a while till we probably see new categories. I have to think if you're like Amazon or Google, you'll probably push to have some of those categories that you already support that are missing from Matter added in. So who knows? Maybe we'll see like vacuum cleaner support at some point, or deck staining robot support, right? That's a thing. Talked about that in the last podcast. Yeah, I don't know. But I think we're gonna hear more about this when the iPhone 14's coming out. I have a feeling that we're gonna see some kind of big event, and we'll get into that later. Why I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah. So alongside all of those home app changes, there have been just general enhancements for response times and better reliability overall. Definitely aimed more at helping people who have like a large amount of devices in their home, which I don't know about the reliability of that with the current betas and their state. I feel like that would be a deterrent to reliability, but yeah.
Yes. I welcome that change for sure, because we have a lot of devices and faster response times would be great. There was a total dearth of information about tvOS and HomePodOS updates. And when we go to the beta site, you actually click on tvOS and it just takes you to, hey, go buy an Apple TV. That's weird. Are we not getting a new tvOS, new HomePodOS? I don't know. If I were a developer of devices for these platforms, I'd be like, this is a little sketch. But here's my theory. And we'll kind of dive into the next story, the second Apple story, which is, there's rumors of a new HomePod. So the HomePod Mini was named Audio Accessory 5, and now there's a new reference in iOS 16 code for Audio Accessory 6. And, there was a video where they were talking about stuff, and there was people were speculating, like, there's this orb in the background. Maybe that's the audio... what did they call it? Audio Accessory 6. But the person that gave the talk actually, tweeted a picture, and they're like, it's a ball of rubber bands. So I love it. It was great. But I do think that we are getting new HomePod accessory, and I feel like Apple's wanting to keep that under wraps, and they're not talking about what is going to be supported with that. And therefore, they're not releasing any info about tvOS and HomePodOS. But it's like, this is WWDC, and people want to prep if you're going to support something cool. They want to be able to add it to their app. I don't know. We'll see how this story plays out. So yeah, I don't know. interesting, thought-provoking. Could be totally wrong, but I suspect we'll see something in the fall. There'll be a big announcement, maybe even its own event for the HomePod. Maybe they'll just lump it in with like, hey, new phone, new HomePod. Who knows? New TV. Who knows? New remote.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see maybe like if they are like trying to keep tvOS 16 and HomePod software 16 like under wraps. Like maybe we'll see just like with the launch of Matter, some launches of a new HomePod, a new TV, and like a bunch of new HomeKit categories, and just like more stuff with the Home app that comes alongside Matter and the new TV and the new HomePod.
Yeah.
Like I definitely loved for Apple to do that. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Well, that's all we had this week. As always, thank you for tuning in and watching or listening. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. And if you are tuned in on a podcast platform, it helps if you hit that subscribe button. It lets all these algorithms know, like, hey, we should suggest this. And if you haven't, like, go follow us on Twitter. We're at our Apple Home. And, we don't really talk a lot about our social media, but follow us there. And, if you could tweet the show out, that helps us tremendously grow our audience. I don't even think we post on Reddit anymore. We don't post in any kind of Slack groups. So anywhere you could share it, that would be super helpful to us because we like to spend our time actually making the content. So we will see you guys in the next episode.